Snakes are very polarizing creatures. Some hate them, while others simply just adore them. I gotta admit, they do emit some sort of cold-blooded charm, hence people often keeping them as pets, no matter how gigantic they can become. However, I bet even the most hardcore of snake charmers will be able to tame number 1 on this list, so stay tuned to find out just what that one is. A member of the boa family, South America's green anaconda is pound for pound the largest snake in the world. Its cousin, the reticulated python, can reach slightly greater lengths, but the enormous girth of the anaconda makes it almost twice as heavy. Green anacondas can grow to more than 29 feet, weigh more than 550 pounds, and measure more than 12 inches in diameter. They reach their monumental size on a diet of wild pigs, deer, birds, turtles, capybara, caimans, and even jaguars. Anacondas are non-venomous constrictors, coiling their muscular bodies around captured prey and squeezing until the animal asphyxiates. Jaws attached by stretchy ligaments allow them to swallow their prey whole, no matter the size, and they can go weeks or months without food after a big meal. These guys usually top the lists when the biggest are being talked about, which is true if we're talking about living animals. However, there are actually 2 species of snake that are significantly larger than the green anaconda. Good thing both are extinct. Coming in as the 9th largest snake of all time is the amethystine python. It has been recorded at a record length of 28 feet, but more frequently at lengths of about 16.5 feet. It is a slender python for its size, and not able to kill the large animal that its relative, the anaconda of South America, can. It is a dull olive brown or greenish yellow in color, but the scales have an overall amethyst iridescence, which produces an attractive shimmering effect, especially in sunlight, making it one of the more beautiful snakes you'll ever see. The species is found in tropical rainforests and scrub forests in Indonesia, Papua New Guinea, Australia, and the Philippines. Small pythons spend most of their time in trees. Large ones spend most of their time on the ground in mangrove swamps, dense rainforests, or along streams and rivers in scrubland. It is a good swimmer, so can travel by water when required. Like most of the large pythons, amethystines feed on a variety of small mammals, such as fruit bats, rats, and possums. They will also eat small and medium-sized birds, and occasionally even large lizards such as monitors. Native to the jungles and grassy marshes of Southeast Asia, Burmese pythons are among the largest snakes on Earth. They are capable of reaching 23 feet or more in length and weighing up to 200 pounds with a girth as big as a telephone pole. Although they are often quite shorter than the African rock python, they make up for it in weight and girth. When young, they will spend much of their time in the trees. However, as they mature and their size and weight make tree climbing unwieldy, they transition to mainly ground dwelling. They are also excellent swimmers and can stay submerged for up to 30 minutes before surfacing for air. Burmese pythons are carnivores, surviving primarily on small mammals and birds. Although they have poor eyesight, they stalk prey using chemical receptors in their tongues and heat sensors along the jaws. They are constrictors, grasping a victim with their sharp teeth, coiling their bodies around the animal, and squeezing until it suffocates. It also doesn't matter how large the prey is. They have stretchy ligaments in their jaws that allow them to swallow all their food whole. The Indian python comes from the forests of Nepal, India, Sri Lanka, and Pakistan, but may also be found in rocky foothills, river valleys, and scrubland. Very much a loner, this snake lives alone except during mating season. When hunting, it often drapes itself over branches or coils up on the ground, waiting to ambush prey. You can usually see these guys near the water in areas that offer plenty of cover. The largest Indian rock python recorded was measured at around 20 feet, but can be commonly found at more manageable lengths of between 12 to 14 feet, still enough to land it on number 8 on our list. They can also tip the scales at about 200 pounds. Unlike many other snakes, the Indian rock python is a very protective mother. She lays anywhere from 10 to 100 eggs about 3 months after breeding. She prefers to keep them all together. When she is done laying, she curls herself around her brood to protect them for the 2 to 3 months it takes for them to hatch. During this time, she rarely leaves them and continually twitches her muscles to generate a few degrees of warmth for her young. The babies hatch fully formed from the leathery eggs and leave the nest almost immediately to strike out on their own. At more than 20 feet long, Wanabe was a constrictor, which means that it did not use venom, but instead wrapped itself around its prey and tightened its grip so that its prey could not breathe in. Despite its killing efficiency, Wanabe probably could not tackle larger animals. Other than that, there isn't really much else to say about this one, except that it's actually a pretty cool snake. Generally regarded as the longest living snake in the world, specimens have been recorded up to 33 feet. These large snakes are extremely slow movers, but they can still strike at surprising speeds. Their coloration and pattern is designed to allow the snake to blend into the leaf litter of the forest floor, where they lie in wait for unsuspecting prey. Pythons are usually found near watercourses amongst rainforest or woodland. Small snakes will spend a large amount of time off the ground in trees and shrubs, while large adults are mostly restricted to the ground. They will retreat into crevices and caves after feeding, with most of their activity taking place at night. They have a reputation as being an aggressive snake, and they will not hesitate to defend themselves by raising the head off the ground, hissing loudly, and, if further harassed, striking repeatedly at the threat. Large reticulated pythons normally eat mammals and birds, with items as large as deer and pigs being readily taken, and as always, swallowed whole. For over 100 years, Gigantophis was regarded as the largest known snake. Like with other huge prehistoric snakes, a Gigantophis was a constrictor that squeezed the life out of its prey, blah blah blah, you know at this point. Oh, but what could just be interesting about another constrictor? There's so many. Well, this one in particular ate crocodiles and other large reptiles. Gigantophis would largely be an aquatic snake, hiding underwater until it was time to strike. It is believed that it exhibited behaviors similar to modern-day boas and pythons. However, it was related to neither of these two snake families. Instead, it was part of the now extinct genus Matsodae. Definitely not the biggest one on our list, but definitely one of the oldest. Believed to have slithered in Australia 23 million years ago, Yerlinger is a genus of fossil snakes from the extinct family Matsolidae. This genus was part of Australia's extinct megafauna and contains the Yerlinger campyldenus species. It is a large predator that seems to have existed in the region since the Miocene epoch. Included in its genus family include species like Wanabe, which you'll get to know more a bit of later on. The genus name is derived from the traditional name given by the people of Arnhem, land of the rainbow serpent. They were large snakes, up to 19.69 feet long and almost a foot thick, that looked like monitor lizards, rather than a garden snake variety. Yerlinger was a constrictor, which means it coiled around its prey and squeezed it to death. The African rock python is a large, non-venomous snake native to sub-Saharan Africa. It is one of the largest snake species in the world, and although it rarely attacks humans, it is greatly feared. With the largest specimen measured at 25 feet in length, it's not hard to imagine why. On average, though, they measure at between 11 and 13 feet. African rock pythons have a thick body covered with colored blotches, often joining up in a broad, irregular stripe. Like all pythons, the scales of the African rock python are small and smooth. Those around the lips possess heat-sensitive pits, which are used to detect warm-blooded prey, even in the dark. Pythons also possess two functional lungs, unlike more advanced snakes, which have only one, and also have small, visible pelvic spurs, believed to be the vestiges of hind limbs, which harkens back to the days of snakes still having legs. 60 million years ago, in the swampy waters of what is now Colombia, there lurked the Titanoboa, by far the biggest snake that ever lived. At nearly 50 feet long and weighing in at 2,500 pounds, it was 10 times as heavy as the average green anaconda. This made it the biggest snake to ever slither on Earth. Titanoboa was so big it pushed the boundaries of being able to exist on land and remain in accordance with the laws of physics. You, me, every cat, antelope, and every other creature that inhabits the Earth, we've all evolved under the constraints of gravity. Evolution got a bit carried away and produced the 100-foot blue whale, the biggest critter ever, only because gravity doesn't affect giants as much in the sea. Scientists reckon Titanoboa must have also exploited this kind of simulated weightlessness. It was so outsized that, according to paleontologist David Polly, almost certainly it would have spent a large part of its time in water, which, in turn, allowed it to grow to titanic proportions. Do you agree with our ranking? Let us know in the comment section down below.